Hello again. This is part 3 of my 3-part recap of the results from my recent stay in hospital. This time I want to talk about food. When I've had issues with food, and so I went gluten-free 2 or 3 years ago. And then I found that things like I was starting to feel really unwell and sore and bloaty and gassy after eating potatoes, and then that went to tomatoes. So the nightshade family, we took those away as well. And then I was having gluten-free cereal and things like that, gluten-free breads, and I was starting to have the same issues with the gluten-free products. Looking into it further, I realised that even though it's gluten-free, it is made with an alternative grain or an alternative product. So then I had to go completely grain-free. Now, I don't recommend, I want to be very clear, this is my own experience and I do not recommend any of this as a course of action. I'm merely retelling my own experiences. Dairy seemed to be okay, but I had to cut down my red meat because of a high iron count in my blood. That was a different issue. So I ended up only eating once a day, which is not a good thing, but my body was taking so much energy to digest food that it was taking more than what it was giving. When I went to hospital, we talked through these things, and the staff initially were very skeptical and thought I was being fairly uncooperative about food. They were very good about it, and between them and the kitchen, they tried really hard. But there was nothing on the menu that I could actually eat. So for breakfast, it was a banana, and the rest of the day, it was lettuce and shredded chicken, because I was not aware that there were any other options. So something to note is that there are menu options, but they had to wait and see if there was a clear and visible food issue. I lost 4 kilos in 6 days, which was, no, yay, lost weight, but it's not a good way to do it. So if you do find yourself in that situation, you can ask for a menu options. On the 6th day of my stay, I actually got to eat the food from the options menu, and I was able to cobble together 3 meals a day. So, we were able to arrest that rapid weight loss, because rapid weight loss, it doesn't last. I have lost 16 kilo, but over a very long period of time. And with the medication changes and whatnot, I'm expecting a very gentle weight loss to continue for about another 20 kilo. I think would be healthier for my heart. So anyway, the food. The staff had a really difficult time around that. The New Zealand doctors had a really difficult time about it. And I was having a difficult time trying to explain to them that if that sauce is made with flour, I'm going to be really unwell. And there were times when I wasn't believed, and so the food would arrive and there would be something on it, and I would eat it, and then it would be in it, within 15-20 minutes. And there was one night where I was up all night with a really unhappy gut. So, I learned something amazing, once again, from Dr. Kate, who I've talked about in the 2 previous videos. She came to me and she said, "This food thing that you've got going on." And I said, "Yes, I know. I'm not trying to be picky. It's just that I have a physical reaction to these foods." And she says, "Yes, and I know why." Even the hospital dietitian came and spoke to me about the fact that I was not taking in enough nourishment. I was getting malnourished, blah, 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 blah. So I said, have you got anything that my body will be able to, because, raw vegetables, sometimes raw fruit like apples and things, they're damn hard on a compromised gut. And, if you're only going to give me a couple of lettuce leaves and some shredded chicken twice a day, I can't actually help losing weight on that. And you're the dietitian, it's kind of your job to, work this out. So I saw the dietitian on day 5 after doing this tango with the kitchen, and, the amazing staff the nurses and the healthcare assistants kept trying to get me food. But, it was very difficult. And then all of a sudden, 2 pages of menu options turn up, and I can cobble together the foods I know I can eat. So the dietitian was no help. But then Dr. Kate came, and she said, this food thing you've got going on, she says, I've been looking into this for, another situation that happened to be about irritable bowel syndrome. She says, you don't have irritable bowel syndrome. This is just where I found the information. And she gave me pages and pages. And she said, did you realize that food intolerances can be affected by the pollen in the air? The proteins of, say, no, this isn't these two things but say the pine trees are releasing their pollen. The protein in the pine pollen might be reacting with, say, the protein in bananas, which is why, everything I've been saying the last 6 years, she goes, yes, and I've got a name for that, and yes, that happens because of this. I mean, who knew that if it's wattle season and there's yellow pollen now, that might react with the protein in a chocolate bar? I've got no idea. We need to look into it. But it has opened up. First of all, it was so validating because she's also now educated all these other people that, if someone says that something's not good for them, then it's probably not good for them. So there was so much, it's like, who knew that tree pollen or grass pollen or cherry blossom pollen or whatever it is, that the protein can be causing inflammation and irritation in the gut and the digestive system and reacting with something that you've eaten, which is why food intolerances, because I'm not allergic, food intolerances can jump. Like one day I'll be able to eat potatoes again, hopefully, or I might be able to eat, a slice of bread or something like that. So I thought that was amazing. It's opened up a whole new avenue of research for us. But I think the most important thing, there's 2 things I wanted to add in this section. If you are in hospital and you do have crazy food issues that everybody looks at you sideways and think, no, it's another one of those little M.E psychological issues. Ask for the options menu. It's there, and you get to, make your own meal plan up. And it saved me because, they were even starting to say, before even I was given the menu, they were saying, well, can't your husband bring food from home? I thought, well, I eat once a day, and that's the meal he cooks for me at night. How's he going to do that here? And why can't I get that food here? It's a hospital. You feed people. Why can't you feed me? Yeah. But then that whole pollen in the air thing, that's gold. Information like that is gold, because a fresh pair of eyes on an old problem can make all the difference. And I'm not saying that I have all the answers or anything like that. I'm just saying it was so validating that when I was honest about how I was, what were my symptoms, even though I've been, sort of laughed out of doctors' offices for 6 years plus. This goes back to, no, forget that. I've been sort of this medical joke and this medical hot potato that nobody really wanted to deal with. And I've landed in this place, and every single thing I've said about my symptoms, about my paralysis or the pain or, the crossed wiring, she goes, oh yes, there's a name for that. It's called blah, 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 blah. And the same with the food. Did you know that there are proteins and pollen that can interact with different types of food? So now all we've got to do is, learn about the different proteins, and I might be able to enjoy food again, so long as I'm eating it at the right time of year. I mean, there's been a lot worse, suggestions. So I just wanted to add that. I thought that was really valuable. And I think it really showed us that this particular doctor is approaching things from, a very wide perspective. And I think many medical practitioners could learn from that. So this is the last video in a series of 3 about my, the follow-up from my hospital stay and going forward. So signing off with hope and love and spoons for you all. Thanks for watching. Toodles!